Yep. Right here. Come on. I think.
Just call them up as you speak.
Okay. All right.
Just go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for joining us today to discuss the recent announcement of Jefferson County transportation changes. I want to say that, shout out to the NAACP. I want to say shout out to the Urban League. They had a press conference today, and I definitely don't want them to feel like that their voices were silenced. But we have to go by the schedule that we have. We wanted them here, but they're not going to be able to speak today. We're going to have Roz Welch speak on behalf of them, and then we're going to move forward. It's not going to be a bashing session of Jefferson County Public Schools. But what we're going to ask is for a partnership. And not just with a partnership for Metro government, but a partnership to be able to sit at the table with community leaders, pastors, and other entities that this impact. Because it just did not impact Jefferson County Public School board members who made this decision. So I want to make that very clear first. I've listened to the feedback from my constituents and my community members and leaders and students, recognizing the significant concerns among families, especially those in West Louisville. Jefferson County Public Schools decided to eliminate transportation to all magnet schools, excluding Central. Will eliminate busing for about 16,000 students. This will disproportionately affect our underserved communities and underprivileged youth in Louisville, denying them access to valuable and necessary educational opportunities. Many of the families we represent rely on schools providing transportation due to them not having cars. This decision threatens the diversity that is critical for creating the best learning environment as students learn from each other's diverse backgrounds and experiences. Everybody wants the best school for their child, and this decision will limit that opportunity for them. I will continue to state the West deserves the best. And in this conversation, all students deserve equal opportunity. If it is mandated by Kentucky state law for all children to go to school, how can parents expect transportation to be provided to get their child there? You cannot expect something out of parents that Jefferson County Public Schools and state of Kentucky is not willing to do. Supporting our youth and their families is essential to maintaining an equitable education process for our city. So I am asking on behalf of District 1 constituents for the Jefferson County Public School Board of Education to reverse the decision made on Wednesday, April the 10th, 2024. I will also ask that Jefferson County Public Schools not retaliate against any of my colleagues who may be employed with Jefferson County Public Schools for standing alongside me today and speaking to these issues. Also, the Jefferson County Public School employees that stand firm with this. I am asking Jefferson County Public Schools to be transparent, communicative, inclusive, and creative with the community to come up with the necessary solutions to resolve the transportation issue at hand with Jefferson County Public Schools for the betterment of our youth, their parents, and our city. I am asking the mayor and his administration to be responsible for the following: convening a meeting with Metro Council members, stakeholders, and community member leaders, by bringing them to the table collaboratively, as well as pastors, to come up with the innovative solutions that will favor our most vulnerable population of the community. And then allow community feedback and implement those solutions effective immediately prior to the new school year starting this August. I understand this decision would not be an overnight change. However, I feel it's necessary to handle this issue with the utmost urgency and seriousness. As a Metro Council woman of District 1, and on behalf of Metro Council, we are requesting to participate in the finding solutions of this issue for the sake of our communities. It is due time to allow Metro Council, community leaders, and partners to partner with Jefferson County Public Schools to come up with those necessary solutions needed. I want to state that Jefferson County Public Schools has twice the size budget as Metro Council. And in the recent school year, Jefferson County Public Schools budget has increased significantly from their budgets in the past. And now in 2024, we are taking away transportation necessary to receive an education for our students. I am asking that funding be effectively allocated to include transportation in Jefferson County Public Schools budget in this year and every year moving forward. How is it that Jefferson County Public Schools has been able to afford transporting students from 1975 until 2022? And now with the funding more than ever available, Jefferson County Public Schools thought it was better to take away transportation. Something as important and necessary as transportation for children to go to school. I want to state this is not technically a Metro government issue, nor that we can resolve alone. However, this is a community issue that we should resolve together, collectively. United you stand, divided you fall. Jefferson County Public Schools failed not only my community, but the entire community. And let me call a spade, the Black community. And it's way too often that the people are put in these roles to make decisions for areas that they don't even live in or that they don't even walk in. Daily, don't put the communities, that they don't even put the community's needs first. And I will not sit on my hands or stay silent when the people I serve's voices were taken away and this decision made impacted our community and our city severely. I want to say, I won't stop. I'll do a press conference every day, if need be, until a solution No is not an option for when it comes to transportation. It's not about black. It's not about white. It's about what's making the best decision for our youth. So often we say, you know, the youth are our issues. Well, let me ask you this. When you take away transportation and when you take away education, what do you think you're going to have then? What solutions are you solving when you take away transportation from our youth? Or was this all just designed? I'm going to read this from my Republican caucus. And I will say this before I read this. People say, oh, why do you care about what the Republicans think? I care, because guess what? Nobody can effectively get anything done without 14 votes. So they matter. And it ain't about Democrat or Republican. It's about working together. So I'm going to read this statement from Kevin Kramer, the Minority Caucus Chair, District 11. While we do not agree with the recent decision made by Jefferson County Public Schools regarding scheduling or transportation, the members of the Minority Caucus are prepared to assist where it is welcome. Although Jefferson County Public Schools is ran by a separate and entirely independently elected board, we have made these decisions, their decisions, have adversely impacted the students, parents, businesses, and communities we represent. Rather than pointing the finger or directing people to call someone else, we have and will continue to offer solutions that can be implemented to improve the conditions for all our residents. Now I'll pass it over to the president, Marcus Winkler.
Thank you all for being here, and thank you, Councilwoman Hawkins. And, I want to first thank Councilwoman Hawkins for her passion on this issue and really recognizing the challenge and running with this. I also want to thank members from JCPS who are here today, Dr. Polio for coming, James Craig, Dr. Scholl couldn't make it today. But, one of the things that's become apparent to me over the last few days in trying to work on this issue is that none of these decisions are made lightly. And as we know, dealing with the challenges that we deal with in the city, that these challenges are very, very complicated. And I'm confident that with partnership, they are solvable, though. And so I want to first thank Councilwoman Hawkins for bringing this up. I want to thank the partnership from James, from Dr. Polio, and from the other members of JCPS. I want to thank the mayor, who, when he and I talked about this, ultimately what I think the message today should be, and the commitment that I have from JCPS leadership is we don't necessarily have the solutions today, but we have a commitment to partner, whether that's with TARC, with Metro government, with our various nonprofits around our community, that people are here willing to come to the table and willing to find solutions, creative solutions, that help resolve this challenge. Because ensuring that kids get to school, ensuring that they get to school on time, is something that impacts every single one of us. Whether you have a student at JCPS, whether you're a business owner, or whether you're just live in the community, you are impacted by what happens at JCPS. They are our partners, and I look forward to working with them quickly and immediately to try to find viable solutions that we can implement for next year to help ensure that we can get students to school on time, where they can learn and really take advantage of all of the excellent work that does happen at JCPS every single day. And so I thank them for being here and look forward to working towards a solution. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, again, I want to say thank you. Thank you for showing up. That's half the battle. But Before I call my next colleague up, I just want to touch a little bit on, I had a constituent that contacted me. She made a very bold statement. And she talked a little bit about asking me, she said, everybody's talking about there's no transportation, but why come nobody's asked the question, why don't anyone want to drive the bus? Why? Why? Why, you know, has anyone taken the time to talk to the bus drivers, to get their experiences, things that they've went through driving the bus, their challenges? No. So I reached out to a couple of bus drivers. And in that investigation, the biggest issue was when kids have bad behaviors on the bus, they are continued. They have to continue to pick them up. Well, then you punish those kids that don't have those behavior issues. If you're gonna, I don't want them to stop any transportation, but if you gotta stop it, don't deprive our kids that wanna go to school and learn. Don't deprive it for them. Next, I'm gonna call up Councilwoman Donna Purvis. She's an employee of Jefferson County Public Schools. She's a colleague of mine, and her constituents are truly impacted by this as well.
Good afternoon. Thank you for everyone who's taken the time to come out today to discuss such an important issue that has such an impact on our community. I'm going to piggyback on Councilwoman Hawkins' statements on bus behavior. We need to address the real elephant in the room. There's bad behavior on the bus. There's bad behavior in the classroom. And I know that JCPS is aware of this. I know that JCPS has a lot on their plate. But I also know that JCPS has the ability to address the behavior issues. For me being inside as a substitute teacher, I see that there can be real policies created to address these behaviors that affect student learning. We should not deny access to students who have the passion to learn. And I know that our school administrators should partner with individuals and groups who can acknowledge and can address these behavior issues. It is not something that's going to be handled by a single party. You need a partnership with this. You need educators. You need students. But most of all, we need parents. Exit polls, as we are being told, are the reason that bus drivers are leaving. These results need to be made public. I challenge JCPS to create policy, and I know you can, that will address behavior issues so that education will be enhanced and the opportunities are not limited because of transportation. Thank you.
And I want to say that, let me make this clear. 1 million people asked to speak. Everybody couldn't speak. And again, this is not a bashing session, but we have to state the facts and what's in front of us. But at the same time, Jefferson County Public Schools didn't have to show up. And again, I'm going to say this. That's the first step. I want them to feel comfortable being able to show up. I want them to understand that our passion sometimes can make people feel like that we're radical. And that's not the case. You know, we just want to be at the table, even if it's just a collective few. Next, I'm going to call up Paula McCravey. Paula McCraney, I'm sorry. Dr. Paula McCraney.
Hello, thank you for being here, and thank you to the mayor for being here, and thank you for your support. Thank you for being here, JCPS, and representing your entity. As you have heard, statutorily, the Metro Council cannot have any impact on JCPS as far as telling them what to do. They are elected officials on the board as we are elected officials. What I do know, being a council member, is that collaboration is always good. So I stand firm and ready to collaborate as best we can to brainstorm ideas, if that is what Jefferson County Public Schools want to do. I do know that when you come together and you put great brain power together, solutions can be had. I stand firm in my commitment of being in leadership, to be a leader at the table, if I'm invited. So I expect to be invited so that we can all work together. But let me just say this, as my colleagues have stated, we're all disappointed in the vote that was cast last week. But that is no reason to be mindful of the fact that they had to make a decision. Be it the wrong decision, they made a decision. And that's what we all have to do as leaders. You have to make a decision. But I am standing firm today to say, please, let's consider the decision that was made and reverse it if we can, or certainly improve it for the citizens of this community. I ask that of JCPS. I ask the mayor to work with us as a council to help us be at the table so that we can collaborate and make this better for our community. Thank you.
Next, we'll have Mayor Greenberg.
Thank you, Councilwoman Hawkins, and good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to speak about two transportation challenges that are facing our community. First, the transportation challenges facing TARC, and second, JCPS. Because I see an opportunity to support TARC drivers, JCPS students and families, and our entire community in spite of the challenges that these two organizations are facing. And so earlier today, I sent a letter to TARC leadership, copied JCPS leadership, members of the respective unions that represent TARC bus drivers and JCPS bus drivers, Metro Council President, the Minority Caucus Chair, another committee chair at Metro Council, to convene a meeting this week to have solutions-oriented conversations to address these challenges head-on, because these challenges affect our entire community. First, with respect to TARC, Louisvillians across our entire city depend on TARC to get to work, to the grocery store, healthcare appointments, and so much more. These transportation services and the bus drivers who make the buses run are so important to our city. Unfortunately, right now TARC is facing a financial crisis as the agency is losing 20% of its annual revenue as American Rescue Plan funding comes to an end. That stark financial reality, combined with the lack of a strategic plan from prior leadership, has left the TARC board and management with no easy options. Earlier today, the TARC Board of Directors approved a proposed budget that will maintain the solvency of TARC and also continue bus service for the many Louisvillians who depend on the system, including paratransit riders. However, to address these rising concerns, the proposed operating budget includes an incredibly difficult outcome, a reduction in the frequency of the routes that will result in fewer TARC bus drivers needed in the near future. We as a community have depended on all of these TARC bus drivers for many years, and we want to be there for them in return. As we've discussed, TARC has been mentioned, TARC is managed by a board of directors that is separate from my administration, just as you've heard, JCPS is as well. With respect to the second transportation challenge at JCPS, as I understand the JCPS bus driver shortage, JCPS continues to struggle to fill bus driver vacancies despite having the funding available for those drivers. This lack of drivers has made it incredibly difficult for JCPS to cover its approximately 575 daily routes and get Louisville's children to school on time and then back to home on time, particularly with respect to magnet schools and the academies of Louisville, which is one of JCPS's innovative and important programs that is so important to our kids and to our economic and workforce development across the entire city. While as of right now, it appears there is no perfect answer to either one of these challenges, I believe that we are presented with an opportunity to support TARC drivers, JCPS students, and our entire community. And so that's why earlier today I sent a letter to the TARC board suggesting that if they pass their proposed budget, as they now have, that we convene a meeting this week immediately to start working through the details of how we can offer impacted TARC drivers the opportunity to be JCPS bus drivers and address their transportation challenges. This meeting will have TARC leadership, JCPS leadership, union leadership, representatives of Metro Council, and my administration to begin these detailed discussions of how we can quickly make this happen. My administration will also offer other options for impacted TARC bus drivers, including the possibility of other positions that are available at Louisville Metro government. My administration and I are committed to finding real solutions to these challenges, and we will keep at it. This solution that I've just proposed, it's too early to tell whether it will be the solution or part of the solution. And that's why I also support efforts to have other conversations with business experts and members of the community that have been impacted the most to discuss other possible solutions as well to this challenge. Our community has a long and strong history of coming together to address big challenges. This is yet another opportunity, an opportunity to innovate, to convene, to collaborate, and to persevere for the benefit of our entire city. I know that everyone here today is committed to supporting our neighbors who depend on TARC, supporting our TARC bus drivers, supporting our JCPS students and families. And so I believe that by working together with urgency, we can come up with solutions to help support all of these impacted individuals and in turn, support our entire city. Thank you.
Next, I'm going to have Roz Welch.
Greetings. Hey, y'all. I would say it's a room full of people. I expect a hello. How y'all doing? Hello, my name is Roz Welch, and I am a extremely concerned community member. But first, I would just like to say that I do not speak on behalf of the NAACP or the Urban League, as they have their own voices that had planned to do a press conference today, and I'm sure that you will be hearing from them. But what I will say is that we have been in meetings together and collectively to speak of solutions that we can come up with this situation. Last week was a culmination of many things coming to a head. It was not just last August. It has been 5 years of our Kentucky legislature cutting funding for our school systems. It has been more than 20 years of local government cutting funding to our own public transportation system. This is not a problem that JCPS bears alone. And therefore, it requires all of us to be at the table. Whereas today we have asked for JCPS to come back to the table to discuss solutions, I'm asking Mayor Greenberg to send your project management team to be a part of this solution. As you have people on your staff that are paid just for that, to do that, and to loan them to this task force for JCPS. The auditors asked if JCPS had hired a project manager. Louisville Metro government has one. They need to send them over to you. No questions asked, you need it. Secondly, I'm asking that Governor Beshear send representatives from the Kentucky Department of Transportation to speak about the impact of car rider lines on our traffic system. If anyone lives close to any public school, as of this year, it becomes mayhem between 2:20 and 5 o'clock. All right, if you got a grocery order, you wait to pick it up. If you got to go to the store, you wait, because car rider lines are congesting our thoroughways and highways. As we look at the solutions that were brought forth, I beg to ask the question, was the Department of Transportation even consulted, or even Metro Traffic, about it? Butler High School is the traditional high school in West Louisville, and it is off of Crumbs Lane. Has anybody ever rode through Crumbs Lane at dismissal? At all. Google tells you to avoid it. So as we look at ways in which that we can prepare not only JCPS, but how do we prepare this city for the growth that we have underfunded for the last 20 years? We have subdivisions going up further out, and TARC has never even thought to reach them. And there is no public transportation master plan that looks to reach out any further than it is. It is simply only shrinking. So, as we all come together, I'm asking that community members, we hear you, we see you, I am one of you, that people are listening to your cry, but also that we must be strategic in the way that we implement change. And so right now we have had 17 million minutes of instruction being missing. I'm asking JCTA, if this bus system gets rolled back, would you be interested in possibly including into your contract the option of adding another or 2 instructional days to make up for that lost instructional time? I'm asking that our unions talk about what is the true factor when we talk about discipline in our schools that also does not marginally increase to just Black and brown students being expelled from buses, because both happen at the same time. I'm asking, as Mayor Greenberg said, that TARC comes to the table, Louisville Metro Traffic Division, parents, you are needed more than ever to show up, not just because you don't know how your child is going to school, but we need you on SBDM councils. We need you at PTAs. We need every teacher and principal to know your name because your student is there. When we become community schools of the community, powered by the community, we won't have these issues. So I'm asking that today, Superintendent Polio, Board Member Craig, and the others, this week reconsider your vote and allow us the opportunity to strategize exactly what we need, but also to look at the ramifications bigger than just, are we going to miss more instructional time? Because it's bigger than that. It's huge what the ramifications of that vote is. And sometimes we don't see the ramifications because we're just trying to find a solution to this problem. And this problem solutions are bigger than what some of us can even think or imagine. But I know that JCPS and Louisville has always rallied together to be better. At one point in time, we wanted to be the place that you love to live, work, and play. And I want to also say that this is the place that you should love to be educated. Jefferson County Public Schools is by far a superior educational organization, and we thank you for every teacher that has had to stay after school this year, waiting on a bus, every principal that has tried to put together a missing bus log of what time students are coming to school, every parent that stood outside for an extra 20 minutes and that baby's bus didn't come, but you drove them to school anyway. We appreciate each and every one of you and the things that you're doing to make sure that our students are successful. What we invest in our students now is what our future looks like. And what we see right now is the lack of investment, not just this year, not just last year, but for decades, coming home to roost. So I ask that you bring community members back to the table, that you really develop the REAP plan, but also look at the ways that this is affecting our entire city. I beg you to even question if we really had to go through this situation and not have schools where everybody could get to them, what real estate nightmare we would have as people try to move to certain parts of the city. And we're already talking about our seniors not being able to afford high increased taxes on their homes across the city. It's not just one side, everywhere. Yeah. So this is a bigger question, a bigger situation that requires all of us to come to the table. But I know that we're willing to make the sacrifice because all of us will have to make them to make sure that our students are supported, JCPS, that you know that you are supported, Metro Council, you know that you are doing the right thing, and that Mayor Greenberg and Governor Beshear, that you are on our sides to make sure that our students and the future of this Commonwealth are in great hands. Thank you.
Next, we're going to call up Dr. Polio, Marnie Polio.
Hi, good afternoon. Obviously, this is a difficult press conference for me to be at, and along with Mr. Craig as well. But more than anything, we wanted to be here to show our dedication to what was asked of us, is to bring stakeholders back to the table and to talk about ways in which we may be able to mitigate this problem. Talking to the mayor, clearly there is an opportunity here for JCPS to pick up a significant number of drivers with the TARC challenges as well. And I will say this, we will hire every single TARC driver that is available to us. And we will do that as quickly as we possibly can. I will say this to any TARC driver that is impacted, you will get a raise if you come to JCPS. We are ready and able to hire. I do want to talk a little bit about the issue at hand. And I will be honest with you, this has been the most challenging issue of my career. It's been a very challenging 7 years in superintendency. Right now, across the nation, in the Council of the Great City Schools, which are the largest urban districts, all the major cities, the superintendent life shelf right now is 12 to 18 months. Because of these issues that our public education systems across America are facing that don't seem to have good answers. First off, I want to thank this community. I'm not upset, and, I want to thank this community for the willingness to step up and say, how can we help to make this better? But it is a challenge that every urban district is facing right now. And I will tell you what we deal with right now. Today, we have 68 less bus drivers than routes. 68 less than routes. And so what that means this morning, there were 68 uncovered routes, meaning bus drivers had to then turn around after they dropped kids off at school and go pick up the uncovered routes, which meant all 68 of those routes, 3 start times at least, all had students on those buses who were significantly late to school. I had an elementary school child. I was visiting a school a few weeks back, and I was talking to the elementary school student about this. And I believe it was a second grader told me she had not heard the morning announcements this year. So she was not sure what happens on the morning announcements, what they do, and she's late every day to class. And that is just heartbreaking for me. It's absolutely heartbreaking and crushing for me to hear that from a second grade student and know that as a result, their experience in school is not going to be as positive as a student who shows up on time every single day. And I want to be clear, this has been well documented and reported. We have more students showing up late than we've ever had. We talk about the minutes of instruction, but the majority of those students are black and brown kids. I have to be completely candid and honest about that we are missing instructional minutes. And when a student misses 20 minutes, and we have hundreds of them missing 20 minutes every day, bus goes and picks them up and brings them back to school 20 minutes. If that happens every day, that student goes to school 2 less weeks than their peers. 2 less weeks. And so our challenge is clearly we have government entities who are telling us you cannot keep doing this. You have black and brown students missing school at much greater rates than white students. And you must fix this. And clearly we have a commitment, and I want to be clear on this, to racial equity, which a part of that is access to magnets and schools. And so we are in a very challenging position, like many other districts, about how we ensure kids get to school on time, while at the same time making sure that we have equity in access. So I clearly, it has been gut-wrenching for me. I've said this the other day, to fight through this problem over the past 12, really it's been 10 years, but it has been growing year after year. If we do nothing next year, we will have over 100 uncovered routes every day. Over one, it will not be a viable situation in getting kids to school. Along with that challenge, and I want to be clear about this, and I've said this in front of the legislature this year when it comes to student behavior, here is another education challenge. We have community members, as you heard today, saying we under-discipline our students. I have government agencies telling me on a regular basis that we over-discipline our students, specifically students of color. And so this is once again a challenge, and leadership's hard these days, there's no doubt about it. But we are facing tough issues that just don't have easy answers. And I want to say we are open to hearing from the community. We are open to sitting at the table. We are open to the mayor's solution about bringing TARC buses, and we would love to have Metro Council at the table too. So we are thankful for that. That's the main reason I showed up today. I know I talk longer than just saying that, but I can't say enough that we want a solution to this. We want a solution to this. I am concerned long term, though. I have to be clear. If we are able to have a solution that we can work on that gets us next year, the data is indicating this is going to be a problem 12 months from now, 24 months from now, 60 months from now, and it's going to continue to grow. And I don't want it to be. We know that Chicago Public Schools, for example, has a much more robust public transportation system in their city with a train and all of those things. But as of right now, Chicago offers no transportation to any students other than special education students. And so we have more bus drivers than Chicago Public Schools does right now. The last I checked a couple months ago, so maybe they've gotten more. But they are also 5 times larger than we are. They're 5 times larger than we are. So these are the challenges we face. We are here to find a solution. That's why I'm here, even in this tough press conference. And we accept the proposition to be at the table with the mayor, Metro Council, and community leaders this upcoming week. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So there you have it. We have a public commitment. So that is what the community has asked for. And that is why members like myself and everyone standing up here are put in these roles. You know, we're put in these roles to be a voice for the people. And we should be held accountable to do that. So I want to say thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for agreeing to be a partner, getting everyone at the table. Thank you, Roz, for showing up. Yeah. You spoke volume on behalf of the community. Thank you for showing up. Thank you to all my colleagues. It's not easy doing these press conferences, and I don't never mind standing alone. But it ain't nothing like when you get your colleagues' support. It means a lot. And the community, because the community, they have big ass, especially the West End. So we have big shoes to fill. So I want to say thank you to everybody for showing up. If there are any questions, we're going to take questions. Next, I have a public safety community meeting that I have to attend, so let's make this quick. I have to give the community opportunity to speak on this FOP contract, right? So go ahead.
Councilwoman Hawkins, why didn't this conversation between Metro and JCPS happen months ago?
Well, I will say this, respectfully, we can't worry about what happened then. All we can worry about is now they've agreed to sit at the table, and we're gonna move forward.
How many bus drivers are available due to the TARP cuts?
I won't be able to answer that. Okay, go ahead.
We're still working through the exact number that are impacted by the proposed budget, but based on preliminary conversations that I've had with TARC leadership and with JCPS leadership, we can get pretty darn close, I believe,
Pretty darn close
to addressing this issue that JCPS is faced with right now. So I'm hesitant to give numbers until we have an exact number, and we owe it to the employees of TARC that the TARC board management communicate with them first. That will be happening in the next couple of days, and that will all be public as soon as we have a final number. We just have estimates right now.
Thank you.
Just to clarify, the solution you're proposing, Mayor Greenberg, is because TARP had budget cuts and now has drivers who have lost their job at TARP, that you are recommending they go work for JCPS?
Well, to be clear, the proposed budget first has to come to Metro Council and be approved by Metro Council, and then would take effect as of July 1st. And the TARC budget includes proposed cuts beginning January 1st. That's not ideal for Jefferson County Public Schools' need. We know that. That's why we need, but the solution, the proposed solution, is that impacted TARC drivers would have the ability to immediately start working for JCPS, ideally before the start of the next school system, so that they can address this challenge that they otherwise did not have a solution for. That's what we'll be gathering in the next day or so with leadership of the union, with JCPS, with TARC, with Metro Council, and our administration to work through those details to make that happen.
Has anyone talked to TARP bus drivers and asked if they are actually interested in working with JCPS? Does Dr. Foley say they're already paid more, so why would they move over?
Again, we want to be able to sit at the table, okay? And let's be mindful. No one had voices at first, so now we have voices. Come on.
We can't hear you up
Hold
here.
on 1 second. He's going to speak to that.
Real quick, I just wanted to add, this is very preliminary for us. We just found this out within the past 24 to 36 hours. I will say this, that, we have worked already with HR. For us, it's not a financial issue. I want to say that. We are willing to invest whatever it is. We will bring any driver in at their experience level. So if they've been working for TARC for 5, 10 years, whatever that is, we'll bring them in at the experience level. I can't speak for TARC. I do believe it will be a raise for any TARC driver who comes to JCPS, though.
And I'll also say this, being that we have community leaders at the table, there are going to be, I would say, endless recommendations. I believe that Pastor Bruce Williams did speak on that he had over 5,000 members, and he would surely get us some drivers from there. Metro Council is involved now, and I would say that we can put something in all our newsletters advocating for people that want to drive. We have community leaders here that can be a resource for us. So let us get to the table first, okay? Let us get to the table.
And sorry, Councilwoman, you have to go to another meeting. But essentially, if you don't get anything else, this is well, I can't hear up here, but this is just a call. This initially what we came here today is for a call to action, a collaboration, making sure that we're speaking for our community through equity, making sure that all voices are at the table. We are ready to move forward to join the school system, the mayor's office, administration, and look at every possible solution that we can. I'm sorry, I honestly could not hear the questions in that, but for time, we're going to call this. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for your commitment, for each and every person here to show up, and more questions or anything will be coming forthcoming. So thank you.